So thanks everyone for sticking around to the last session of the conference, and thank you, Mark, for your presentation. I think I did a fantastic job setting the scene and really outlining the importance of innovation and putting innovation at the center of these large organizations as well as some of these smaller organizations. My name is Jason Lacombe. I'm the Chief Executive Officer at Veratrak. I have a background as a health economist, and originally really costing out the drug supply chain, understanding some of the pain points and bottlenecks, then moved to Oxford to do my PhD as part of WHO Collaborating Center. Became very interested in new technologies, specifically blockchain at the time, founded the Blockchain Society there, and then grew a company out of the University of Oxford, which I'll tell you more about today. So what I'd like to cover over the next 25 minutes or so is first introducing you to Veratrak, telling you a little bit more about what we do, providing a really crash course overview in blockchain. I don't want to make it scary for anyone in the audience, so we'll try to keep it as simple as possible and really drill down on the terminology. Talk a little bit about how it's being used currently in the industry, where we see there's value in the application, and then actually put this into action and talk about a case study. So some work that we're doing with one of our customers. They're here this week exhibiting Pharmapack and how they're using it in their production environment. So Veratrak as a company is a life science provider. We're solely focused on servicing the life science industry. As I mentioned, we grow at the University of Oxford, been around for about 5 years now. And at a high level, what we offer is secure document collaboration. And we do that for all types of document exchange between pharmaceutical manufacturers and their service providers, whether that's CMOs, CPOs. So you can think of all batch documentation, GMP documentation, artwork files, etc. We're the first company in the world, which we'll get into today, to actually move out of the proof of concept pilot phase with using this new technology, blockchain, and going live in production environment. And our customers currently include both CMOs and CPOs, as well as larger pharmaceutical manufacturers. And this is just a snapshot of the last 2 years to just highlight some of the accolades that we've received in the space. So we've been really fortunate to win a number of innovation awards, both in the blockchain space, the technology space, but also here in the pharmaceutical industry. We received numerous rounds of investment and also been acknowledged in the industry trade press quite a lot. At a high level, what we're looking to solve and the problem that we're faced with our customers is inefficient and unsecured document exchange outside of the walls of organizations. So as we're well aware, as the product moves across the supply chain and then down the vertical, there's increasing documentation that's associated with that. And the majority of this documentation, as everyone in this room is aware, is being shared over email, fax, or the post. So I upload or I scan a file, share it over email via PDF, and then that gets reviewed by my suppliers. They then sign it and send that back. And that's not good enough. We've been starting to work with the regulators here, the MHRA in the UK, looking at how we can provide better visibility, and better exchange of information outside of the walls of organizations. And that's why we built Veratrak. So Veratrak is a software platform. It's very easy to use, and essentially it uses workflow in a workspace to track, review, sign off, and approve of all documentation. And it allows you to capture all documents that are associated with their SKU or batch of medicine and make that actionable to your customers. So it gives you better visibility. It's done in a more efficient manner, and it's got blockchain, which is providing very good security, quality, and compliance. So why would you work with us? Well, emails are not safe. As I mentioned, the regulators, we're currently commenting on draft guidance documentation for how information is shared outside of the walls of the organization. We're doing a case study with them. And really, what you need to know is the pharmaceutical industry is the #1 industry target for cyber attacks. There's been famous examples recently with the Merck cyber attack, the NHS in the UK. And the way that people will compromise your computers is through either PDF phishing or PDF malware. So this idea of embedding a PDF that has some JavaScript to compromise your system, I download it, I review it, I open it up, and my system's compromised. We believe, obviously, the platform saves a lot of time and money. We'll provide some of the statistics there. And ultimately, from a data integrity standpoint and a security standpoint, we're leveraging the best practices. Now, the fun part. So what is blockchain, and what does it mean for my organization? So if you leave this presentation with nothing today, I guess the two things that I want you to have ingrained in your mind around blockchain is this definition. So blockchain is a ledger which is distributed. It's that simple. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by it's a ledger? Well, a ledger can be thought of as is very simple. Any way that you can track information in a chronological manner. So anytime that a ledger is updated, we can think of it in accounting practices, I'm just adding new information to the bottom of that list. People try to make smart contracts very scary, but all a smart contract is the execution of code, which updates the ledger. So anytime new information, anytime a new document's added to my software or to the blockchain, smart contract is an execution of code, which updates that ledger. What do I mean by it's a ledger which is distributed? So a lot of the issues around compromising systems currently, computer systems and IT systems that we use, is there's one central point of attack. So with a distributed ledger, you have multiple ledgers that are all updating simultaneously. And in order to compromise the system, you have to compromise the majority of those ledgers. It's really that simple. What are the benefits? As I mentioned, from a security standpoint, it's very, very challenging to compromise the entire system because you have to compromise multiple ledgers and not just one central ledger. From a privacy standpoint, we can talk a little bit about our architecture, but it's very important that you're following best privacy practices. You're ensuring that our customers' data is secure and being shared in a secure manner. And auditability, with the ledger, you're able to obviously track all the actions that have occurred outside the walls of your organization and internally. So you can see this individual at this organization has reviewed my document, this individual has signed off on this document, and that allows you to become very actionable and many times proactive in things like audits, for example. So as I mentioned, some of our use cases that our customers are using the platform for is they'll usually start in one place and then roll that out across all their batch document exchange processes. We'll touch on the artwork management use case today with our customer Pharmapack. It's also being used for certificate analysis, review, approval, SOPs, EVPRs, procurement purchase order collaboration, new product market release documentation, some of these next-gen therapies going onto the market. We're learning that obviously it's much shorter supply chains. We're talking 48 hours. And the idea of capturing obviously very large files and sharing that information with your CMOs in a secure manner is very important. And this is where we're getting a lot of inbound requests. And then obviously the MDR is coming in May. Now, focusing kind of on the genesis of this conference and really looking at a contract packaging organization and how they're using us. So this is Pharmapack. Pharmapack has over 30 years of contract packaging experience. They service about 43 markets worldwide, have just over 60 customers, and they've been a fantastic partner with us. Before using us, all their documentation, so all their artwork, batch documentation, quality documentation that was created inside their organization was being shared over email. And as you can imagine, they claim the term email ping pong. There was a lot of back and forth with their customers being market authorization holders. And many times they found themselves working off older versions, incomplete versions of documentation, missing signatures, and obviously leading to a big headache. So they rolled Veratrak out with the idea of centralizing their data management practices, but doing that in a secure manner that allowed them to track the review, approval, and signing off of this documentation. And really why they were initially interested in that and why they were initially interested in the artwork management use case was these statistics right here. So over 50% of drug recalls are a direct result of mislabeling and packaging errors. So it has nothing to do with the errors in the medicine itself. It's the errors in the documentation that's created alongside the medicine. And this is a statistic that continues to rise, but ultimately it can cost organizations a lot of money. So there was over 1,000 FDA involuntary and voluntary drug recalls last year alone. Average cost of that drug recall is $8 million US. So when you are outsourcing, when you continue to outsource to CMOs and CPOs and work with 3PLs or wholesalers, as a market authorization holder, you want to ensure that you have that end-to-end visibility. You want to ensure that your customers are working off the right versions. And ultimately, you want to ensure that you have that audit trail that allows you to know and react better, more efficiently when things are potentially going wrong. So this is just highlighting, you don't want to be on this slide. This is the mislabeling kind of slide that we like to put up, where just highlighting that this is a big problem for the industry. Mislabeling and errors in packaging documentation does lead to significant problems, and it is well documented in the media. So working with Pharmapack, we moved them away from email, moved them off email, and brought them onto our platform. Went through the validation journey, did initial POCs and pilots, and then obviously following best practices, moved into the production environment. And this is August of last year now. We're the first company in the world to go live in the production environment, which is great. The Pharmapack's been a very fantastic company to work with, and they're very innovative in many ways. So using our platform, this is the kind of annualized return on investment through streamlining their documentation processes, through providing better visibility, and ultimately through giving their customers the ability to start looking at things like lead time reduction, et cetera. So we've seen an over 500% return on investment. Their payback time scale has been reduced significantly. At their site itself, there's over 200,000 pounds in additional capacity, 80,000 pounds reduction in errors, 70,000 pounds in labor hours saved. And some of the more qualitative results are, it's a very fragmented space. There's a lot of contract packagers, a lot of contract manufacturers always continuously looking to win business of their market authorization holder partners. So new business wins are possible when you come to an RFP and you say, we actually have this system in place that provides better visibility. We're moving away from unsecured data exchange, and you're able to win more business. Ultimately, you get better stakeholder efficiency, so no more manual data tracking. You can communicate directly with your customers and suppliers in the platform. It's a SaaS-based model, so no more on-prem. And you get that better ease of data tracking. So from a data integrity standpoint, that's why the regulators and the MHRA has come to us to do this case study. Benefits, really increased compliance, error management, easy induction and training, so it's SaaS, it's very easy to set up, very easy to tear down, best security, compliance, quality, and significant efficiency pickups. So blockchain allows for you to have that immutable audit trail of all the document events. It allows for you to have better visibility and ultimately drive significant efficiency at Chopac. So what are the key takeaways from the presentation? As I said, if you leave here with nothing today, it's just to remember this definition. So blockchain is a ledger which is distributed, and that provides a great audit trail. No need for reconciliation after the fact and going into a room and where's this document, et cetera. Cyber resistant, and ultimately offers ironclad data integrity. I think there's a tremendous amount of hype around blockchain. There's probably, for every good blockchain use case, there's about 6 worse use cases. But there is a huge opportunity. There is a fantastic opportunity in supply chain and the pharmaceutical industry. So thanks for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you, David, for
So do you have any question?
Hello, I'm Laetitia Marosero from Sanofi Pasteur. I would like to have information as far as possible around what is the run cost to have this kind of technologies, because depending on the number of nodes or transaction, I guess the run could increase a lot for block validation.
Yeah.
And I heard about a project which stopped because of 100K monthly cost of run. So that's something I would like to understand.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
it's a great question. And the issue that you're describing comes with running a private permission blockchain using consortium business model. So there's differences in the types of blockchain and the architecture that you can employ. So there's public blockchains, there's hybrid blockchains, and private blockchains. If we look at our business use case, so we won the Innovation of the Year award at Oxford for solving some of those scalability issues that in the earlier days companies were encountering. So what we do is we take all the transactional events, so all the uploads, all the shares, all the sign-off, any communication, we bundle those into what's known as a Merkle tree. So it's essentially a fingerprint of all those events. We bundle that into a Merkle tree, and then we store only one piece of information, which is the Merkle root on-chain. So you're only storing on-chain a very small amount of data, but you're able to track to all the different events that have occurred within a given time frame. So the cost is scalable. There is no transaction cost really associated with if you were to store large amounts of information on-chain. So that's how we've thought about it, and that's how we've solved that challenge. But it's a good point, because that is, obviously there's a lot in the media and a lot in the academic literature about the challenges of and the costs associated with some of the scalability of the blockchain. Thank you for your question.
Other questions in the audience? I have a question regarding what is the effort to put the project you mentioned, to put that in place? How long does it take?
Yeah, I mean, we got the product guy in the room, so he'll hate my answer. No, it depends on the use case. We can set up and build the workspaces in as short as a day. So it's just understanding the process and then building the workflow to accommodate for that process. In terms of how long the actual project will take, it depends on if you're looking to do a complex integration into your ERP system, et cetera. But we've done implementations, and once we provide over the quality documentation, validation, testing, like very quickly. So I would say you can start tomorrow, but I'm looking at him, so maybe not.